Okay, y'all. It's KP, the Louisville's legend, and today is Friday. I can't see. Oh, Friday. Wait a minute. The time it. Come on back on. Oh no, Jason. Okay, the time is 10:26, April the 4th. So I'm about to play for y'all the Jason Flom with Kerry Porter. This is Kerry Porter, Louisville's watchdog for injustice to our people. I don't know a lot about this, so I'm just trying to get it out there that Louisville, Kentucky, knowingly and intelligently wrongfully convicted me for a third time. Only one lawsuit won for $7.5 million. The case of injustice, I'm trying to get back to Jason Flum's to do another interview with me, an update of this gun case. 20 CR, the gun case is 2020 CR 0201. The incident occurred in my home where I'm recording from right now in my basement. It happened on November the 30th of 2019. At 12, allegedly, the police arrived with the wrongdoings. Allegedly, I believe it's been altered to 12:29. Response time from 12:14 to 12:29, 13 minutes or so. So they said they got here in 13 minutes. I remember keeping them on the phone for over 13 minutes. So I'm going to play this 50-something minutes worth of podcast from Jason Flynn. I want you guys to subscribe to me. Please share this video with all of you people. Y'all got people in the penitentiaries, cousins, uncles, nephews, sons, aunties, females go penitentiary too, wrongfully. Johnetta Carr, Louisville, Kentucky. Shout out to Johnetta Carr. Susie King, she got paid for a wrongful conviction lawsuit in which my buddy Baron Morgan had her free, and Baron Morgan received all kinds of slander, says the Louisville police officer investigating somebody admitting to a murder that they did that framed Suzanne King. So a shout out to my female. It's harder on y'all, but it ain't no easier on us as it is. So here I'm gonna play for you, Jason Flum and me in New York. Play. Here we go.
Welcome back to Wrongful Conviction with Jason Flom. That's me. And today we have an amazing guy. Kerry Porter is our guest on the show. Kerry, welcome to Wrongful Conviction.
Thank you, Jason. Thank you very much for having me here.
Now, I got to tell you, Kerry, even though I've been doing this kind of work for about 25 years, I had to read your story several times because it's got more twists and turns than a John Grisham novel.
That's funny you say that because my trial judge, Thomas Wine, is now Commonwealth attorney, and he said that he mentioned that my lawyer's motion were like a John Grisham's movie.
Okay, well, so John,
wow.
if you're listening out there, you're very much in the room right now. But your case has love triangles, it has mistaken witness identification, it has perjury, it has false accusations, it has corruption at the highest levels, it has cover-ups, it has, it's got so many factors that, and then murders happening left and right around that would have pointed arrows in different directions. And, insurance claims and questions and it's really, we're going to try to unravel this for the audience today. So everyone's going to have to really follow along because this is crazy. Right?
Well, good luck if we do that. I still haven't unraveled it.
The only thing I can promise is that there's a happy ending, because there is.
Yes, there is.
First tonight, a Louisville man freed from prison after 14 years for a crime he didn't commit.
Kerry Porter has a new look at life thanks to these 7 words.
Mr. Porter did not commit this offense.
The Commonwealth's attorney says Porter was wrongfully convicted for the 1996 murder of Tyrone Camp. New information came to light last year as part of a separate murder investigation. A key witness, Francois Cunningham, said Porter was set up for Camp's murder.
And I've seen you. It's amazing. And we're going to get right into the story, but I've seen you speak on video. I saw you do a press conference, and you really have a remarkable spirit. And
Thank you.
I know you've done a lot of work.
Yes, I have.
Trying to help prevent these things from happening to other people. And you have all my respect for everything that you're doing.
Thank you. As you, man.
Okay, well, so let's get right into it. So you're from Louisville, Kentucky. Grew up on the same street as Muhammad Ali,
yes,
right?
34th and Grand.
And you actually got to meet the legend at one point, right?
Yes. On several occasions, actually, yes.
The greatest.
The first time was in the 70s when his jaw was broke.
Wow, amazing. What a story.
Yeah.
And so in the mid-'90s, what was Louisville like at that time? Was it a particularly violent time in Louisville?
Yes, I have in 96, that was the first rise of the murder rate. I have 68 people got killed, and I have the last body. Tyrone Camp lost his life December the 27th of 1996. And ironically, they charged me with the last body. But in May to June, the mayor had to get on TV and assure the public that these murder investigations would be immediately handled expediently and professionally and everything else. And that assurance went out the door.
Well, yeah. So what he was basically saying is, we'll get these solved right or wrong, right? We're going to make everybody feel comfortable, even though you should feel very uncomfortable, because the real killer might well be out there.
Well, politics tells no better tale.
There you go. So let's go to this crazy case, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the murder victim was a guy named Tyrone Camp.
Correct.
A 35-year-old man. And can you explain the whole circumstance and how the connections led to you? And there was the witness that wasn't sure, and then he was. I mean, the whole thing is like, but you take us back, because you actually, unfortunately, you lived through this. And And like I always say to my guests, I'm happy you're here, but I'm sorry you're here.
Yeah, right.
Anyway, so let's go back to this murder in 1996 with Tyrone Camp.
Tyrone Camp, unfortunately, ran across my little boy's mama, Cecilia Sanders. Sanders now, but then it was Cecilia Kirkpatrick. We had been in a rocky relationship for 9 years, in which we had little Kerry. At the time that I left little Kerry, because of my drug use, little Kerry was 5 years old. So Tyrone Camp came along, and he was a far better man than I, and I signed over parental rights. And I think 93, I thought, because I did time for child support. Well, Tyrone was raising my son, doing a real good job of it. What Kerry was accustomed to was fishing and hunting, and Tyrone didn't know how to do any of that. So he found out how to do it and stuff, and had little Kerry up on his wings as if he was me, despite him never doing that before in his life. So little Kerry got to loving him, and on December the 27th, his little Kerry's mama Cecilia is involved in what appears that she is one of the person that more than likely, she's the person of interest in the death of Tyrone Camp.
And what was the motivation here? And who? I mean, obviously, it's still speculation, because there hasn't been not any real serious reinvestigation ever since you got out,
right?
Which is now several years ago. But which is and I saw your lawyer speaking very eloquently and very powerfully on this topic.
Yeah.
And it's a heavy topic, but. Because, like I said, it involves cover-ups and corruption at the highest levels.
My goodness.
So what was the motivation, and how did this, because it sounds like from everything you're saying, this Tyrone Camp was a pretty good guy. But
very good.
There was some insurance money involved. Is that right?
Correct. Insurance money. It's been rumored different things. My investigation in the 15 years it took to get me out was that Cecilia and her boyfriend, Juan Leo DeSander, as the streets say, scored up to anywhere from $500,000 to over $1 million in insurance proceeds. I do know and did open records requests and manipulated the system one way or another and got a hold of records in which I seen that 4 different agencies paid Cecilia money.
So there was a witness to this crime, right?
Yes,
Because it happened in like a
active transportation company.
Right, in a lot, right? And so, was it at night?
6:35 in the morning is when he was pronounced dead. A.M.
So there would have been some daylight to work with.
Not at 6:35. December the 21st.
No, not in December. Yeah, it's
yes, it's the shortest daylight time of the year.
Okay, so
June the 21st is the longest.
So that's an interesting one too, because of the fact that this witness would not have been reliable, regardless.
Right.
In the dark.
Right.
But okay, and so. The witness, Kenneth Brown, he changed his story a few times. Is that right?
As Thomas Wine said, and Thomas Wine shouldn't let him proceed to trial, he whiffled and he waffled, but he finally is the key word, described Kerry Porter.
So on top of the arrows that would seem, I mean, if we were writing a movie script, you'd say, well, this looks a little too obvious because you got the insurance money. Correct. Right. You got this other guy, Sanders, right?
Sanders.
Who's involved with your ex.
Yes.
Right? So there's a pretty powerful narrative going on there.
Yes.
How they might have wanted him gone. Although it's hard to believe a mother's love, and being that you described him so eloquently as such a good father to your son.
One would think that
maybe that would triumph over the greed, but greed is a powerful thing.
Very powerful.
And that's a lot of money.
Yes.
But even still, the arrest, your arrest didn't happen right away, probably because they didn't have a good reason to suspect you.
No, not in the beginning at all. No.
Right, because you didn't stand to benefit from this in any way.
No.
And you weren't jealous of him. From everything you're saying, you're actually happy that he was filling the role that you at that time as a young man. And I'm not here to judge. I mean, how old were you at the time you had your son?
At the time I had little Kerry was 23. Right, I was a late father.
So late in Kentucky, New York, we call that early. But anyway, nonetheless, at 23, I think a lot of people, and a lot of people listening probably can relate to this. I think a lot of people at 23 are still trying to find themselves, much less take care of another little being. Right. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying your behavior was great or rationalizing it, but at the same time, I'm not here to judge. Right. So the question becomes: they wouldn't have arrested you because it didn't look like there was any real reason to. There was initially nobody identifying you, and also there was no. Again, crime investigation 101, anyone who watches TV would go, wait a minute, why didn't they look at the people who had the motivation? And that would have made more sense, especially because something happened 7 months later that would have really put anybody onto that trail.
Very good. Correct. Yes.
But by then they had arrested you. And let's get to it, because that 7 months is a very interesting twist in this story.
It's a key factor. Should have been a key factor.
But it wasn't, right? So
it wasn't.
So they arrested you. I mean, why do you think they did that? And when...
They arrested me February the 20th, and their alleged motive was that I was jealous that Tyrone Camp had stole my girl, as stated in the opening statement, and that raising my kid. That was the motive for trial. That came about through Detective Rodney Kidd's investigation that's supposed to have been that I had prior in 1991, I had trashed Cecilia's apartment, in which me, Kerry, and Cecilia were supposed to have been sharing an apartment, but Tyrone was coming over on the weekends. So Cecilia's been involved in several love triangles. She transferred from one guy that's doing good to a better guy that's doing greater, and that was her come up. So the Commonwealth thought that I was the person, because of this 91 trash in the apartment, that created their background for the motive. The only difference, Jason, is that background was over 5 years old. That had nothing else happened in 5 years, and that Tyrone had, when I trashed the apartment, I did it in front of Tyrone. And it was said that I poured a gun on Tyrone at that apartment. But there was nobody there to tell that story but Tyrone. And Tyrone Camp is the one that saved me on the 91 indictment of trashing the Deerbrook apartment. He told them that, no, Kerry did not put a gun in my head. Kerry did not hold me hostage. And Kerry had nothing against me. It was all against Seal.
So they arrest you anyway and charge you with the crime. Now, again, I'm thinking with 68 murders in a city the size of
68.
Louisville.
And I have the last body on a political year.
Right. So they need to put a bow on this one, right?
Hey, why not snatch anybody? They had, with all of this background that they had on me, that to me gave them probable cause to come after me. Just got out of penitentiary, has a background for violence and stuff, especially with the alleged 91 incident. And I think that they used that 91 in my background to say, hey, look, Kerry's on drugs. He just got out of penitentiary. If we put the case on him, he'll just go down like any other drug and dummy and won't work on this case. It backfired on him.
But I
became an easy target, in my opinion.
But it got a little trickier because 7 months later, like we were talking about.
Very good.
You want to tell that story?
Yes, I do. On June the 13th, that here happens to be a Friday the 13th, so 1997. Cecilia Camp was involved as a getaway driver in a Hemlock murder in which Juan Leo Sanders shot and killed Antoine Chapman. He also shot Antoine's mother, Anita Watts. He also shot his own uncle, John Dirty Sanders. And he walked away with a 12-year sentence for all these shootings. But this is 6 months later, after the murder of Tyrone Camp. That should have raised a red flag to the Louisville police. Then it was LPD. It should have raised a red flag. But the difference, Jason, is that at the time, Louisville hadn't merged as Metro. It was Louisville Jefferson County Police versus Louisville Downtown Police. So the county police knew of my innocence and fought for my innocence, and the Louisville police fought to frame me.
Wow, that's
deep.
That's a new one. Yep. We've heard a lot of stories on this show.
Yes.
Listeners have heard, I have people telling me, man, this one, everyone has a different one that they point to as the craziest one, but I've never heard that particular, that's so odd because you have,
separate entities, but up under the same.
My head is starting to hurt from this. So you have Cecilia.
You're not the only one that does this. There's so many twists and turns. People say, how do you deal with this?
And by the way, when I was mentioning all the twists and turns earlier, and all the all the factors in your crazy story of being framed and convicted wrongfully and everything else, I forgot to mention the jailhouse snitch, which is a very important part of the story too.
Craig Gully.
Right. So, and there's a very, very interesting aspect to that too, which I think when everyone hears this, there are going to be a few people signing up for law school going, I want to be the guy that discovers that kind of stuff. Right. Because it's great.
Right. It really is.
And that, let's get into this aspect of the case because, so here it is 7 months later, an inconvenient truth emerges, which is that the two logical suspects, Cecilia and Juan Sanders, end up being caught red-handed, shooting 3 people, and now you go, okay, so let me just see here. Like this, we could be in like 8th grade. We sit here and go, well, wait a minute. Okay,
but fly on the wall.
Well, hold on. There's the insurance money. There's the propensity to violence. That same kind of thing. Shootings. Like it's really this one. As I say, this one comes with instructions, right? But but that being said, that didn't throw anybody off the kid. They were still hell bent on getting you,
Kerry Porter.
And in order to do that, they found a convenient,
promising,
willing,
very willing,
who was happy to make a deal. And this is something that I mention it time to time, but the idea to me that everyone knows who watches TV or has any type of education whatsoever in this country, everyone knows you cannot bribe a witness.
Right.
So you can't go to, whatever. I see somebody shoplifting or whatever it is, and then they come and they bring me in. So that guy can't come to me and say, well, I give you $100, but just tell him it was somebody else, right?
Right.
That ain't happening. Everybody knows that's against the law.
Right.
But the government can go to a jailhouse snitch and say, listen, I'm going to give you the best bribe there is. I'm going to reduce your sentence or give you a get-out-of-jail-free card or whatever it is. All you got to do is tell us a story on the stand that Kerry told you, and it happens all the time,
Yes,
that Kerry told you that he did this murder, and we're gonna be real nice to you.
Right.
And that's exactly what happened. And by the way, I don't even want to judge that guy because I don't know what his particular situation is. I'm not going to excuse it either, but
Exactly.
I don't know how anybody in that situation, I mean, I hope I know how people would react because it's the wrong thing to do, but it's a difficult, it would require a lot of soul searching if someone's saying, listen, you go home to your family.
Right.
Right now.
Right.
You're looking at 10 to 20 for whatever it is, armed robbery, this,
Right.
that.
Right.
And anyway, but this guy was happy to take the deal. And interestingly, we know that jailhouse snitches are often used multiple times. They get placed in cells either with or right next to people that the authorities want, and then they sing like a bird. So that's exactly what this guy did. But tell us about that. And let's get to the trial, right? Because how long did it take you to get to trial?
They tried me for that murder in 18 months. The trial date was August 25th. It began August 25th of 1998. I was indicted February the 20th of 1997. You do the math.
Yeah, 18 months and about 5 days. So so you go to trial.
Uh-huh.
Did you know that this guy was going to testify against you?
Yes, I was given his statement. And knew before. I knew he was a jailhouse plant. It was all over that he was a jailhouse plant. And Greg Gully still performed.
Greg was
a jailhouse. Greg Gully gave an interview on February the 12th. They put my case together. Kenneth Brown did identification on February the 10th. Greg Gully did his on February the 12th. And Marcus Pendergrass, a friend of mine, that had a case pending, he gave his on April the 22nd of 97. Those are the days and the critical days in which the Commonwealth put its witnesses together against me. But Greg Gully was by far, as the juror later said after my post-conviction relief, and doing Melanie Lowe interviewed these people, and these jurors said that we weren't convinced with nobody but Greg Gully. Greg Gully sold us hand, foot, tooth, and nail.
So they picked a guy who was a good actor, too, a good liar and a good actor. But he made one critical mistake, right? He made the Baywatch mistake.
Yes,
right?
he did.
Bring spring to your door with Target Circle 360. Get all you need for Easter hosting, spring get-togethers, and more with unlimited same-day delivery through Target Circle 360. From Easter basket goodies to fresh florals, getting everything the same day is easy. Open the Target app and bring the magic of the season to your door with unlimited same-day delivery through Target Circle 360. Visit target.com/circle or the Target app for more details. Subscription required. Same-day delivery is subject to terms. Applies to orders over $35.
This is the soundtrack of the millions undiagnosed with moderate to severe obstructive sleep apnea, or OSA, in adults with obesity. It's a chronic condition where the airway partially or fully collapses during sleep, which may cause